Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Mess. So today we're going to continue the series, Naomi Super Happy Fun Time, because I couldn't think of a better title. And if you can't tell already, we're playing Under Defeat today, released in 2005 by G.Rev, and it was ported over to the Dreamcast, making it one of the last Dreamcast official releases ever to be made. Although it was marketed as being the last, it was not true. There was a few games that came out after it. It is just another awesome shmup. What I love about this game so much is it pivots from that classic sci-fi or space shmup that we got so much of and brings it right back into a pseudo World War II aspect. You are fighting against the Germans and you are the English team. They do change the names up so it's not literally World War II, but you can basically presume from there. And although I wasn't there, I'm assuming this is not how World War II worked back in the day. But it's another awesome shmup on a system known for having awesome shmups, and it's one that I keep coming back to because the gameplay, while eerily similar to pretty much everything else you played, does enough to change up the formula to give you a fresh feel of it. And you will see right off the bat that you can pivot your helicopter, you can shoot straight ahead, but you also have angles that are close to 45 degrees off to the left and to the right, which are definitely going to be something you get to utilize within the game. Now, compared to a traditional bullet hell game, this is not pattern based. Some of the bullets will have patterns, but a lot of them are just wildly flying across the screen, so while you don't have as many projectiles or patterns as a bullet hell game, it is going to give you the same sensation of challenges, which is what we want in a shmup like this. And I absolutely love that bomb effect there. That entire wall of flame that comes up looks spectacular on the Dreamcast and Naomi hardware. But this is one of those games I know not many people ever mention it. I'm always wondering why. Maybe it's the theming, maybe people are into the military shmup, maybe it's just not something that clicks with them. But if you played this game, leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think, because I would be curious. I'm not saying it's the best shmup to grace the Dreamcast or Naomi. I'm saying it's one of my favorite shmups to grace those systems, and it is all down to just feeling slightly different enough that you feel like you haven't seen this type of game in a while. And I do love how they use that tate vertical element of the screen space, but do make you move left and right, and a lot of the enemies are coming off screen from the sides, not from the top and bottom. It's just ever so slightly a variable that changes up the gameplay, but you will see me take a decent amount of deaths here. This is not an easy game. I am much better at shmups when they have the bullet hell patterns with all the geometry in them, but here you're going to have different enemies attacking you at different sides of the screen, and the bullets aren't going to be as patternistic as you would expect, which means you're going to have to learn to read the screen just a little bit better, and you're going to have to change your expectations of what the game is offering you. I recently just played a bullet hell shmup capture right before doing this, so my brain was ever so slightly broken. But graphically, this game is no slouch either. All of the models are super detailed, and it just absolutely pops on the Naomi hardware. This is the type of game that was perfectly suited for that Dreamcast look, and I think it holds up incredibly well even today. There's not much you could really do to the artwork of this to make it look that much better for a modern system. Add into that some insanely difficult but fun to learn and master elements in the shmup category, and you have a really awesome game to talk about. And I just love this gigantic battleship here with all of those different batteries on the ship shooting those cannons at you. It does make you wait for the bullets to come, but when they do, they are quite fast, just like they would be in real life, and it kind of plays around with your expectations as to when things are going to happen, because as much as this game is throwing a ton of bullets at you, sometimes it's just letting it up and giving you a little bit of break, knowing what's coming next. And you'll see that I have different power-ups here that does become important. You do want to have those angles, but if you are good and you squeak through some of those bullets, it feels absolutely incredible. Although I would say that maybe the hitbox in this game is a couple pixels bigger than I always assume it's going to be. That might just be coming from cave bullet hell shmups. I'm used to that tiny hitbox, but here you do need to practice, and you're not going to get any glowing icon in the middle to show you where it is. But again, destroying an entire battleship here, watching it explode on screen, it just gives you that sensation of fun that you want in a shmup like this. And I love that water rains down because of that explosion threw all of the ocean water up into the air. You even get these really fun little bits of artwork with your score here, but I absolutely think the soundtrack in this game is spectacular as well. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds or so. I'll come back and tell you more about the history of the game. But enjoy. It's just one of my favorite shmup soundtracks of all time as far as non-cave games are concerned, and it sounds incredible on Naomi and even better on Dreamcast. But again, this type of game, you either love it or hate it. When I do shmup videos on the channel, they don't do as well as any other genre, and that's just because it is a more narrow fan base. But I keep doing them because I absolutely love them, and again, when I do any shmup video, I'm going to tell you this right now. You don't have to be good at the game to enjoy the game. You're supposed to be bad at the game when it starts. You get better at it, and that sensation of learning and improving is what really draws a lot of people into this genre. From there, once you get really good at a game, you can start doing things like score attacks or trying to go for 1cc attempts. And that's why I love shmup so much. They are hard, but it only takes 20 minutes to complete them, and once you actually learn the patterns and get better, you just get hooked in. Now, if there's one thing that this game does that I do not care for in any sort of shmup or arcade game, is that when you take a continue, it's going to push you further back into the level. You'll see here that I am fighting this gigantic land tank, an awesome design, mind you. I wish these things existed in real life, and I am going to end up dying. It's going to make me continue, and it's going to push me further back than where I came from, so you only have so many lives to get by certain sections of the stage, and if you can't do that, you're going to have to keep replaying them. So you're going to end up in a situation where those 3 lives are not going to be enough for you to learn that area until you take 5-10 continues and get past it. I wish they didn't do that. I just think continue should start from where you die, but it is a design decision. I'm sure it's meant to get some more quarters in the arcades. But the good thing is, whether you emulate Naomi or if you own the original cartridge, you're not going to have to put those quarters in, so we can die and try again as many times as we want. But I also love the bosses in this game. They're all military themed, but this is just so great to look at. A gigantic land tank running on these tracks, trying to blow up our helicopter in mid-air, and it is a nice detailed model as well. Add to that the transparent smoke effects and the explosions, and you have a really pretty game, even if it only uses like 5 colors any given time, most of them variants of tan and brown. But that makes sense because it is a military shooter, it's not one of the fantasy shmups, so in the context of the gameplay universe itself, having all of these drab colors makes logical sense, so you can just have to deal with it and know that it's supposed to be there because it is a war zone. You will see that some of these bursts here do get that geometric pattern, but they burst so low down into the screen. Every once in a while you may feel like you took a death that wasn't warranted, but you just need to learn more of the patterns. But this is just such an active game, but I appreciate that it does give you that breathing room. After you go through a litany of enemies and you avoid all the bullets or end up dying like I do sometimes in the capture, the game will give you 4 to 5 seconds to kind of regroup, decide where you want to be on the screen until you take on the next chunk of enemies. So it is nice in the respect that it does give you like 5 seconds of breathing room before you take on the next wave of your opponent. But again, I just love the soundtrack in this game. It's unique, it's different, and it sounds so good coming out of the Naomi hardware. So go ahead and listen just for like 25 seconds this time. I'll come back and talk a little bit more about the game, but I love this music and I think you will too. I just love the soundtrack's intensity. It perfectly fits what's going on screen at any moment in time, and as we get to more of these geometric patterns, I get a little bit better. But it's been about a year since I played this game, and I actually like capturing things before I practice to get amazing at them, so I can talk about what the experience is going to be if you've never played before and you want to check it out. But this is just another one of those classic Naomi shmups you definitely should play. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't, maybe you've played it, maybe you haven't, but if it's been some years, definitely check it out again. There's so much to love here with Under Defeat. It is one of those classic Naomi era games, and you know if you watch my channel, I love the Dreamcast and the Naomi. You can play it either way you want, but if you do want an original copy on either format, you definitely better bring your wallet. But Under Defeat is just another awesome game on a system that has so many awesome games. And as you get further into the game, we go from tan, olive, drab, brown to snow, which is just a little bit of a variation, and we got to appreciate it. Short of that, I'll be back next week with more Naomi videos, and I'll have videos throughout the week, but we are done, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.